real estate and construction industry is going through a metamorphosis in vision, thinking and implementation. Hi, this is Pooja Solanki and today we are present at the 6th annual Metamorphosis in Building and Construction Industry 2015 presented by Binani Cement, wherein key figures from real estate, infrastructure and construction threw light on the changing horizon of this dynamic industry. Listen in.
I would like to thank you all for coming here and joining us for discussing the industry woes, I would say, and the challenges ahead. Your experience, expertise and readiness to share your knowledge and ideas are highly valuable and needed. Let's look forward to a fruitful discussion, stimulating perception and observations during the course of the day. And before I hand over to Mr. Piyush Gandhi and Mansi, I would request the dignitaries, the panelists, to take the seats on the dais. Thank you.
Good morning to all of you, and thank you, Ms. Tina Verma, for inaugurating this session. I have been participating in MMR session this year, probably is the third year. And a good part of all the sessions that I have attended is they really focus on industry issues, where industry is shaping up, how we are growing up in this sector, and what are the key challenges, how we can address this. Frankly speaking, real estate is as good as blank paper without cement and concrete. Because if you have a blank paper, you can really write a lot of good stuff in that. But unless you have that ink through which you write, it doesn't really make sense. It could be a barren land, as good as barren land. So cement and concrete is quite an important part of this industry.
The ready-mix concrete has started way, I think in 1994-95. But that time there was a lot of challenges. How to transport the ready-mix concrete? Is there any technology which is available to apply these ready-mix concrete? So ready-mix concrete is not only for the speed of construction and the consistency of quality, but also it can contribute towards the sustainability. Because we are talking about the rapid growth in infrastructure, that means we need to take care of these. So we are seeing good growth in infrastructure, and the last trend which has been followed, like infrastructure growth, then it comes to the commercial, and finally it also gives the boost to the residential segment.
A very fine good morning to one and all present over here. As Piyush rightly said, that real estate is a blank paper without cement concrete infrastructure. Now that explains that cement concrete infrastructure is a vital ingredient when we talk about the recipe of real estate construction.
India perspective in connection with the globally, and our need of, because demand and strength of this sector, and as you rightly touched upon the subject of the housing, from the inception, from the independence, because we're talking about roti kapada makan. PM has to do, or CM has to do, or some minister has to do. Let's start doing from ourselves. If I start doing myself, I'm into business, I'm helping him, he is helping him, you are helping somebody. So we all will be into the business. There is a huge demand as far as housing is concerned. As of today, so with right price, right product at right place, it is selling like hot cake. Because there is no dearth of, there is no bias, true, genuine, with end users, I'm saying. So that itself explains.
Mr. Pratik, there has been a steady execution of infrastructure and real estate projects, and is expected to expedite in future. So how do you see it's bringing relief to the cement industry?
Presently, ready-mix concrete industry, the capacity utilization is around 30-35%, and for cement I think it will be 70% right now. So of course if we improve our productivity, then there is a chances that yes, the revenues will come in, the profitability will come into the picture.
So interestingly, cement price have been moving like a share price index. so it moves like sometimes it's around 300 and sometimes it has reached to a high of 400 also. So I don't know what is the reason it changes so fast. So Mr. Mudda, to you, there is something known as single window clearance. Very often we hear this. Do you think that is really helping builders and the real estate side of the industry? And have you seen that really getting into shape in recent days?
To be very frank, we are still far away from that. See, this issue of, because when we're talking about housing affordability, price, is very subjective. But today also, because if you go to suburbs, like Thana, I'm saying, or beyond, you say that like Virar Road and all. Those areas today, if one can give you the apartment, 2-bedroom, 500 square feet, 5,000 you take it, 6,000 you take it, 8,000 you take it, we're talking below 50 lakhs rupees.
And Mr. Ajay Jain, because you represent that whole sector, so I would request you to throw some light, like digital mission, which Prime Minister Modi has recently launched.
What digital will do is make the communication very close and very fast. So, because of this, the distance will not matter.
Only one thing, same, there is a green tribunal judgment. You cannot accept more same than required. Constantly demand is increasing. I am told I am not educated, but I read. I am told in Western economy, people are using construction waste. Why Builder Association, why CREDAI, why state government and municipality cannot do out the research? Why should we allow construction waste to be dumped as a Nariman point out at Malawi or wherever? Why can't we use as a sand aggregate, as a sand or as a coarse aggregate?
Infrastructure development in India has always been a challenge, land being a major reasons, the delay in acquisition of land, again the regulatory hurdles, getting approvals. So a lot of things the government is aware of, and they are taking steps to have all those in place. In fact, as I said, the government has to monitor all these aspects and help the infrastructure projects. It should be like conceptualizing and developing plug and play sort of schemes, rather than going into multiple agencies, approaching multiple agencies, going through a tedious process of getting all the approvals, the land acquisitions, the delays, which again results in cost overruns, again resulting in feasibility of the project itself.
What are your thoughts? What do you see this industry coming around as an interior architect?
There is a huge demand which has come up. The major challenge for everybody in this industry is to deliver better than the best. Who is not doing best? Today the question is, everybody is doing best. So our challenge is to challenge our own best.
What is your say on modern architecture? I mean, where do we stand? Is the architecture industry improvising as to what it is in the past?
Service sector industry, IT sector in particular, when it grew and took on the key challenge of growing GDP, that was in 80s, mid-80s and early 90s. And frankly speaking, it were companies like TCS, Infosys, Wipro, all Indian, and many others in fact. I'm just naming first few, but all Indian companies. And we were at par with Globe. So that's what from my side will conclude this panel discussion. Many thanks to all the panelists. Very useful thoughts and knowledge shared by you. Thank you, Mansi, for being a very good co-host.
Thank you, Piyush. Thank you, panelists. Thank you so much, audience.
So this is the 6th year we have entered, and the objective has been to discuss the crucial issues which we will be taking the reports and again getting back to the readers through the, it's like a vice versa medium, from publishing to events, from events to publishing.
So see, one thing is very clear, that whatever we build, whatever we construct, we have to be sustainable in our development. And when I say sustainable, it's slightly a larger version of being green. because what we have to care for our future generations, and we have to also care for health and comfort of people living in the premises that we develop.
All the experts of cement, concrete, construction chemical experts together with the builders and developers, and to brainstorm the new things which are coming up in the market, which are there, and we sometimes hear from them, from media, from other sources, but we don't sit together and discuss.
Real Estate Investment Trust is slated to be the game changer in real estate transactions. SEBI has issued the guidelines for the same last year. But interestingly, Pakistan is the first South Asian country to have a REIT. Let's hear in from the experts what they have to say about REITs in India.
Welcome back everyone. Our next session is on analysis of infrastructure progress in India by Mr. Rajiv Magarkar, Grant Advisor, AC Nexus.
I thought each one of our panelists would talk for 5-6 minutes about how they feel about REITs. And then, with your help, I'm going to drill them.
There's actually too much, but starting with what panel one concluded was that India is the only country from which has actually, from the agricultural country, has actually gone to a level of service sector contributing more than 30%. Ideally, the manufacturing industry, the real estate and the infrastructure needs to evolve before the service industry actually evolves. And so the time is actually coming when the real estate and infrastructure needs to contribute. But giving the actual numbers, we need to realize that almost about 30% of the GDP is still contributed by the real estate industry. So that's very large. I think there is a dichotomy that which comes first. For me, of course, Pranay spoke about real estate, but because the panel is about real estate and infrastructure, and India is the only country where the business trust has been bifurcated into real estate, that is REITs, and then the infrastructure investment trust, which is InvITs.
Good afternoon. I would like to take on from the place where Shankar Bhai had left in the morning, because he's here, the Shobhita Mahajipal. In the morning, Shankar Bhai was in another panel, the panel one, which he said, yes, our industry, the real estate industry is highly unorganized. And that is the truth, and especially viewed with suspicion, to put it mildly. Therefore, the funding mechanism is largely USL based funding from maybe high net worth individuals or unorganized sector, ranging from 20% to 30% or something. So high interest rates. All this is because there is lack of governance, corporate governance, lack of transparency, very opaque industry, and therefore we get funds at a very expensive rate.
CREDAI, of course, has its own viewpoint, but REITs we have not discussed to a very great length. Usually we are a reactionary kind of a body. So once it is there, let the first REIT come and then we'll see how it is. So possibly
to make mistakes and help people.
Nothing like that, but yeah, we believe in crossing the bridge when we come to it.
Yeah, sure.
And of course we'll take up the issue when the right time is there.
Sure. I'll just try and take the same thing in a little different manner. Being a developer, being an entrepreneur, and also being part of the real estate industry, I think there are a couple of things which always emerge, like it did today as well. The two themes always emerge. The first one is in Alice's conference. The first one is always that we always take pride, all of us, saying that we are a very large contributor to the GDP of the country. I think every conference I participated in, this is the first thing which emerges, and I think all of us are very proud of that. Something which we're not very happy or proud about is we continue to say that we are very unorganized. Now that is something which is not very good to hear and say all the time, but that's the truth. And both of them are the truths. So what is happening around us? How is REIT going to solve some part of this whole problem? Not necessarily everything. See, there is a very clear problem which all of us are facing as real estate developers of liquidity. So there is a tremendous pressure on all of us how to raise money, how to raise tier 1, tier 2. I will not use the financial part of it, I will rather use the language which all of us use every day in our offices.
For the end user, yes, the investor, an investor, imagine having only 2 lakh rupees and wants to buy an office space or get the benefit of appreciation in a office space in BKC. He cannot do it now because it's usually you have to have 3 or 4 crores to do that. Now when this comes, when even a investment of 2 lakhs, he gets his part of the appreciation, and he gets to participate in that process of capital appreciation.
When does a rental housing come? When I buy a house, I buy it for myself and I go and stay there. Only in case where you are an investor, large investor, you would have second house or a third house and you would put it on rent. Now, in Indian industry, the growth has not happened in a fashion that few towers are only dedicated for the rental housing perspective. The day that starts happening, the assets like these can actually become part of REIT. Because REIT is all about also evolving the property so that there is a capital appreciation. So uptake and upkeep of a property is also very important.
It is sustainable, it is smart, it is more interactive. The transport systems are aligned. So I think a lot will go into the smart cities, and you will have your office spaces which will be part of the whole thing. Your residential spaces which will be done will be based on your requirements. So in totality, this will be the new way India will live, and a lot of investments will come in there.
We all know about Narendra Modi's Make in India campaign and his mission for housing for all and smart cities. The experts present here spoke on that and much more. Let's find out.
Which has resulted, especially in the real estate sector, in a slowdown of sales velocity, as well as a liquidity crunch for most developers. And FDI inflows correspondingly has also declined over the past few years. Not surprising given the weak economy that we saw during 2013-14 has led even to a slowdown in FDI, not just in the general economy but also in the real estate. The chart that you see here really shows you how from a high of 2010, FY10, we've come down to almost half in FY14. And even worse in FY15. In fact, some of the listed NCDs obviously have to be very carefully used. Recently, there was a Bombay High Court judgment just about a couple of weeks back in the case of a Mumbai-based developer who was unable to repay a Dutch financial institution, and the Bombay High Court ruled that they would go beyond just the letter of the transaction and would actually seek to explore each and every step that was taken even prior to the transaction to establish whether this was indeed a FDI violation or not. And in this case, I think this is a wake-up call to ensure that NCDs and structured debt instruments have to be structured very carefully in a manner that does not violate any of the existing guidelines of FDI.
The voice of Kishore Kumar, and he will tell you why structures collapse. And you just see the slides, you see the ear to the music, and this is how I convert Hindi film songs into concrete lessons. So this is only one of the 60 songs I have made, and very pertinent to our subject. And we are very used to Chalta Hai concept in India, and that's why even the building starts walking, music collapses. I'll start with this structure. They used to call this building Akash Deep. We give very nice names, you know, Shiv Chanda and Akash Deep, and everything comes down. And this is one such building. It was a conventional structure, ground plus 2, good building. It was extended by 5 more floors by RCC columns from the outside. And it was constructed, this extension work, during the Antule cement scam. And bad materials, bad construction practices.
It's not always that we have so many experts under one roof. But one thing is clear for sure. For any development project, the baseline remains go green and energy efficient. To know more about buildings and cities and real estate as a whole, stay tuned to Spin TV. Goodbye and take care.